Let's go, baby. The West Virginia Mountaineers get another much-needed victory, holding serve at home, beating those Utah Utes all high and mighty. Let's get to the tournament, baby. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. I have touchscreen monitor here and all kinds of cool stuff I'm getting used to. I got two monitors. I've never had such a cool setup, guys. Thank you to the people that helped me get this. It's cool and makes me feel like I'm looking at the camera. I don't know. I feel like a little bit more special than I did yesterday, I guess. I did always ride the short bus, they said. West Virginia gets a win, man. We needed it, obviously. But let's talk about where this episode is brought to you by FanDuel really quick. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. That's if you win. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. If you don't know by now, my name is Mountaineer Paul. I host Locked On West Virginia. Thank you for being here for this Saturday night stream. My internet said it was moving pretty quick before I came on tonight, so I was excited to see that. Maybe they've got that problem fixed in my area. That would be so cool if we can finally just be past that so that we can see, me in higher definition than what it has been, because it's been a frustrating month or whatever it's been dealing with that. So West Virginia wins the game 72-61. And I'm honestly surprised it got to that. I picked the score 69-60. We almost hit it. Monty Hansberry leads the way with 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. It feels like what he did was impactful. He hit a couple really key shots early in the game. But I have to give the MVP of this game to, you can give it to Javon Small every game. I got to give the MVP of this game to Joseph Yesufu, who was just really catching on and getting into the flow here. And he can really be that second guard to Javon Small that can score. That could be big for us heading down the stretch. He's obviously a player that can fill it up at times, and man, he makes those off-angle shots so much right off the backboard, and is a guy that I really love watching play. His tenacity, he's got a great three-point shot, a lot of arc on it. Love watching him pull that. Javon Small, pedestrian, 14, 8, and 4, played incredible defense the whole game on Madsen, who was held to just 7 points, basically dominated by Javon Small. Jonathan Powell scored 11 points. He had like 0 deep into the second half, so he really turned it on late. Toby Oconee had an incredible defensive game. I was really, really proud of Toby Oconee because he had some rough spots there, but his overall defense was incredible. I was really, really excited to see him play that way, and he deserves any recognition he gets. Obviously, Monty Hansberry, 17, 7, and 4. That's a great stat line. We'll take that from him every night of the week. It's really impressive when he does stuff like that. So on the Utah side, you had Dowles, man. That kid really played hard tonight. He was tough. Alsar, number 2, was another guy that, even though he didn't have a whole lot of scoring output, man, he was physical with Oconee and other guys throughout the game. And I felt, they had a couple players that were really physical. I got to be careful, man. This thing shakes so easily. They had a couple guys that were really physical with our players and pushed us around quite a bit. I'm glad we were able to give them a little bit of fight back, though, because, I hate to see it. I hate to see when we have players that aren't necessarily living up to the challenge. So this is this is really big, because I think coming into this game, there were people out there that was waffling on our tournament chances. And I come out of this really feeling good about our chances at 15-8. That's a good record, man. I mean, it's not where we want to be. Would you rather be 17-6 or somewhere in there this time of year? Absolutely. But we're 3 games away from the tournament at the end of the day. I mean, do we need to win a couple more? Absolutely. But like if we can get to that 18 or 19 mark, I believe our overall resume will get us in. And that's 4 ranked wins overall. And we know that we've been saying it for a long time. We were hoping to add a couple more to the resume, but we just haven't been able to. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team performs down the stretch. You got BYU coming to town on the 11th. That we should be able to get to 16 wins there. Then you got Baylor on the road. That's going to be so tough against Scott Drew, which, listen, if there's one thing Darren DeVries has been this year, it's been a coach killer. He's beaten several coaches that on paper should be better than him. So I continue to be impressed with a guy like Darren DeVries, absolutely. So for me, guys, you look at it and say, okay, Darren DeVries is really crushing it right now, and I believe will continue to, because I have a lot of belief in him as a coach. That's just the way it is, man. I really love what he does. Josh Eilert, man, that was interesting. He came to town, and if there's one thing about Josh Eilert is he really took a really tough job and made the most out of it. I wasn't expecting I wasn't sure what kind of ovation he was going to get tonight, but I was really glad to see him get it. He deserved it. And to be honest, man, I saw some people online that was questioning otherwise. Somebody put why. Like, what do you mean why? Why what exactly? Why was he emotional? Why did he get an ovation? Like, he spent 17 years here. Gave the best years of his life to us, really, right? His physical prime. And sat behind a legend that he knew he was probably never going to beat out for the job. And among others. Now, he's not the only one that did, but Josh Eilert deserves a lot of credit, because I've been told since then that he kind of knew that this was going to be an unwinnable situation, right? He knew the situation was going to be hard to win with, especially after everybody transferred like they did. So I'm happy for Josh. I'm glad that he got the ovation he deserved, and he was emotional, and he deserved to be emotional. That's just the way I feel about it. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, let's talk a bit more about those seeding chances. Does West Virginia got the goods to get to the tournament? I think they probably do, but let's talk about it. Up next on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's almost no better way to make it even more exciting than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members, billions in winnings awarded. Prize Picks makes it fun and simple to get in on the action. Here's how it works. You pick more or less on at least 2 players' projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Prize Picks has a free pick for the big game where Patrick Mahomes only needs to throw 1 yard to win. Pick that with one more correct pick and you're cashing out. This week, I'm looking at the board and selecting more for Travis Kelce on receiving yards and more for quarterbacks passing yardage. What I love most, fast, safe withdrawals. When I win, my cash is in my account in as little as 15 minutes. Check out the promos tab for any of the super sweet Millie winners big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On College for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup at Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, we are back here on Locked On West Virginia, talking West Virginia basketball, West Virginia hoops, the whole nine. Segment 2, Crack-a-Doo. I feel like when we win, I got to have me a regular Mountain Dew. I've been drinking Dew Zero. It sucks. I don't know. I'm going to try to get used to it at your behest. At a lot of your behest. Behest is a fun word, by the way. But yeah, it's going to be tough for me just because I drink too much Mountain Dew. It's the truth. It's the only thing I do. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. So I feel like in some ways it's the way I entitle myself to be able to do it. And I only eat once a day, which is probably not healthy either. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I need to do something besides working from home on the computer. That would probably help. All right, let's talk about my next topic here. Almost tourney bound, and I spelled tourney wrong because I was in a hurry. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh well, can't fix it now. So I look at the tournament situation. Joe Lenardi's last projection has us at a 9 seed, and I understand why he has us there. It's just I think we're gonna end up a little bit better than that, especially if we win these last. Let's say we win 4 of the last 8, right? We go 500 down the stretch. I mean, 19 wins. I could see us more along the 8 line, 7 line with our resume. If we get to 20 or more, I see us pushing a top 6 seed. If we get more than 21, I can see us in the top 5 seed. I just think our resume is better than your typical 24 win team, 20, even 23 win team. That's how I look at it. But I mean, this team has the potential, if they get hot enough, to go and do some big things still. I mean, you look at the win today, that's 15 wins with 8 to go. You still got a shot at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 8. That's an incredible record, obviously. And you just start subtracting from there, which I will now. So let's say we're undefeated at 23 and 8. Well, let's work our way backwards. I will say off of that, I'll say we lose 2 more, probably at least. I think Baylor and Texas Tech are going to be likely or possible losses. That's 21. And then I think we might lose 1 more. We shouldn't, either TCU or UCF, 20. So I think 20 is the number I'm falling to now. If you'll remember earlier, a couple of weeks back, I had us right around 24. So I'm down to 20 now based on how things have gone. But 20 wins is a really solid season for your first season. I think it's something to be proud of for this team, especially Coach DeVries and everything they've been through. I mean, look what they're working with, guys. It's not like we're world beaters at any position. Can you imagine what we're going to look like with this 3 freshmen next year? I mean, we might even have one of those guys at 5-star rating by the time that happens, which kind of hope it doesn't happen because it's going to be hard to keep them if that happens. These teams will definitely scoop them up. But I really like what we're doing. And even though we've lost a few games here lately, it was bound to happen at some point in the season for this team. They were peaking way too early. Then they got sick. I said this already a few times, but I think it was a combination of they peaked early, they lost Tucker, they figured that out through Javon, and they kind of rode Javon on a wave for a few weeks. Then they got sick with the flu. Toby O'Connie had an ankle injury, or not Toby O'Connie, but Amani Hansberry had an ankle injury. And then there was the exhaustion that kind of set in. And I think this team is really just now, the last couple games, pulling out of that. That's just my opinion. You lose weight, you lose energy and everything when those things happen. And I think that's why the performance you've seen against Arizona State, Kansas State, Houston, and TCU happened. Because I just wasn't project. I'm going to be honest, man. After Iowa State, I really thought we had a shot to be a top 2 or 3 seed based on what we'd done and what was left. Just goes to show you college basketball is never what you think it is. And same here with this team. So, are any of these gimmies on the way out? I mean, that Utah team we just played, imagine them at home. It's going to probably be a 1-score, 2-score game. I mean, we could blow them out. I mean, they got that size advantage. They're going to be tough at home. Well, what about TCU coming to West Virginia? That was a tough squad that I think we're going to get better calls in that game. Cincinnati, I can't imagine a world where they're better than us at home, but the way we did them on the road at their place. Baylor, obviously a team that has been in and out of the top 25 this year as well, very similar to us in a lot of ways. They just smoked UCF. They got the same record as we do, 15-8. So there's a lot going on here with this remaining schedule that I could see. Texas Tech's the hottest team in the league by far. I count that as a loss on the record. Absolutely. It'll probably be the one we win, which would solidify our resume. If we beat Texas Tech, 17 probably gets us in. Seriously. It happens. We've seen it happen. And here's another thing, guys. Don't forget, let's say we do stumble and we only get to 17-ish or 16 in the regular season. The Big 12 tournament's still in play. If we get the right draw, we could win a couple games there too. So don't get too freaked out by it. I think this team is absolutely capable of winning down the stretch. So it's going to be fun. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, let's talk a little football, man. I want to talk about the roster guys and a couple guys I think are going to have huge impacts this year. It's just something I want to talk about. Stick around for that. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill of the kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win 200 bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's the icing on the proverbial cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Just bet $5, and if you win, that's $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. Only at FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel right now, the official partner of Super Bowl 59. We're back. So I just wanted to talk football before we bounce out of here tonight. Congrats to the basketball team. Congrats to Coach Eilert and all that. Since we got a kind of a throwaway 10 minutes or so here, I want to know in the comments, guys, and you listen on podcasts, you can find me at Paul Mountaineer on X. That's at PAUL Mountaineer, like Mountaineers. If you're watching me on video, my name is on a license plate behind me. Just reverse it, and you found me. So I'm curious to know what some of you guys in the comments would say. Who do you think the most impactful player is going to be out of the high school / portal class this coming season? Do you have a number one guy? Do you think there's one guy that's a cut above everybody else? Or do you think there's a couple guys that are cuts above everybody else? Or do you think it could be a mixed match of things? I spoke to one of the players yesterday, and I heard some really interesting stuff. They've got some offensive linemen running some pretty quick numbers on the gun, not 40 time, but like miles per hour. They've got guys hitting 16, 18, 19 miles an hour on that thing. So offensive line seems to be very athletic. Guys like Chemo and Tykees Crawford are not playing well, but definitely lifting in the offseason seems to be going well for those guys. I don't know if Tykees Crawford's one of them, but Young Bear, guys like that. So excited for them. There's the obvious ones, Michael Coates and Jamori Robinson. Obviously, I think Ty Edwards is also in that conversation. But I was trying to think the other day, look back over this list, which I'm doing right now. I'm pulling it back up. Let's see, football. Okay, so Let's check this out really quick. Uh-oh. Missed it. Transfer portal class tracker. There we go. All right. So in reverse, obviously, if you look at the last couple commits, okay, let's go with high school first. Of all of the signees we had, my underdog signee of all the high school players that we signed, and that's including both signing days we did basically a couple months apart, I'm going to go with Cameron Torber. He shocked me, his tape. Absolutely, positively shocked me. I just wasn't expecting a guy with very little fanfare to have that good a tape, and do yourself a favor. Go watch Cameron Torber play ball for Hoover, Alabama. And you will be, in my opinion, shocked. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, runs like a deer. And I can't figure out why he didn't get highly or more recruited. I'm still trying to figure that out. So maybe somebody can let me know, because I have no clue why he wasn't more highly recruited. Of the JUCO guys, there's a bunch, man. I really love Adam Tomczyk, but I'm being biased there because we talked a lot through the process. I love Keenan and Oxley too. I mean, it's like they're all kind of at a tie for me. But if you're going to hold a gun to my head, I'll say Oxley, pass rushing skills wise, is got a real shot to make a big impact. I really do. Second to, by the way, to Torber is the combination of probably Bomar and Weaver. I love those guys as much as you can just imagine, man. Like Scotty Fox at quarterback is another one I'm excited about. And then you want to talk about just regular college transfers. There's a bunch to really get excited about, like several different. Like I really like the class they brought in, but if you're talking about somebody I think will go under the radar a little bit, I think that's Chase Wilson. I think he's going to be a leader on that defense. I think he's going to be a guy that really pushes through and is going to show out. He's a super athlete. He runs well. He's played a ton of football. He's highly productive. And we had some good conversations on the phone as well. I was really, really pleasantly surprised with him. So I think Chase is a guy to look for. Absolutely. If you're talking about offense, I think Jalen Henderson, man, I really think he's going to have a great offseason. Don't be surprised to see if he possibly wins that job, man. I think it's like I've said before a few times. I think it's best if Nico wins the job for West Virginia, and because he's a West Virginian kid now, basically, and he's stuck through a lot, and I'm rooting for him to do so. But man, I watched a couple of Henderson's games the other day again. He's so underrated. I really think we did a good job finding a little diamond in the rough there with the guy that's just kind of been inconsistent, injured, didn't really had a lot of chances. Started at Fresno State, didn't play very much at all, and then went up to Texas A&M. How did he do that? Well, somebody saw then that he's pretty good, and I think they did again. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I really don't have a lot else. That I couldn't really turn that game, post game into an entire video, but we got close. We got to 25 minutes. That's pretty good. Thanks for joining, guys. Hit that like button before you leave. Drop a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Obviously, tomorrow we'll have a little bit of news. I'm still watching for a couple things. A few more staff changes possible, and maybe another guy or two. But may not happen till spring as well, so might have to sit around and wait for a little while. I'll keep you guys updated, absolutely. Gonna have to get creative here in the next couple weeks on videos, so stick around with me. We'll make it happen, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. It's always great when the Mountaineers win. Make sure you give those guys the proper thanks on social media, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, guys, this episode's over, and I'm out.